Good afternoon. It's definitely not a Midsummer Night's Dream. It's more like the Tempest. We're here in Ostend in Belgium, ready for the Women's Elite UCI Cyclo-cross World Championship. As the sea rolls in, it's 29 kilometers an hour. The wind, 2 degrees centigrade. Forecast is rain and sleet for the rest of the afternoon. And we're set for a big showdown. 40 riders taking to the race start this afternoon, ready to decide where the rainbow bands are going to go. We'll take a look at the course. If you've just joined us, you may have seen this in the under-23 men's race, but if not, this is the course. 2 distinct sectors, one on the grass and one on the sand down by the beach. We're in the Hippodrome, the Wellington Hippodrome in Ostend, which dates back to 1883. The riders making their way on some tricky sections, technical on the grass and power on the sand. It's going to certainly produce a very worthy winner. The bridge also is difficult, and there are some sections where your footing is absolutely critical. The riders then are being called forward. Here are the former world champions of the last few years. This title dates back to 2000. Last year's winner, Celine del Carmen Alvarado, where she beat, remember, Anna-Marie Verst into second place. 3 times the winner, Sanne Cant, is on the start list, and so is the multiple champion Marianne Vos. We'll let you digest the riders who will be taken to the race start. This race then dates back to 2000, won by Hanke Kupfernagel of Germany. She also won it in 2001 and in 2005. In the first edition of this race, she beat the British rider Louise Robinson into second place and Daphne van der Brand into third. Daphne went on to take numerous points on the podium during her career. Last year then it was Celine del Carmen Alvarado who beat Anna-Marie Verst into second place, and it was Lucinda Brand who was in third. One rider who knows the podium very well indeed is Marianne Vos. Celine del Carmen Alvarado seems to have got herself onto really good form, and one rider who loves the sand is Denise Betsema. Sporting some interesting headgear as she keeps her hat nice and dry is Sanne Cant. But these are the riders we've got used to watching over the last few weeks of the UCI World Cup, as we've travelled from Tabor to Overijse, with Lucinda Brand taking the title. Now it's about the final race of the season as far as many riders are concerned, and that is to decide where the rainbow bands go. On the front row of the grid, Yara Castelline. Well, she's finished on the podium in Coxsider before. Big moment for this rider, Clara Honsinger of the USA. She really has been the revelation of this year's season. There is Lucinda Brand, many people's favourite. Has she done enough on the sand to win this title? Alongside her, Anna-Marie Verst, second last year. The last time we raced in Coxsider, Verst was in 5th place. Here's the defending champion. Well, a few weeks ago, you would have said she didn't look like she could defend her title, but now I think she's one of the hot favourites. And this rider surely is a hot favourite. She trains on the sand, Denise Betsema. And over the last couple of weeks, this rider has started to look like a contender to win the race, as we see Magali Rochette of Canada alongside. Magley looking forward to this race very much indeed. We're getting ready for the race start. The greens are on, and let's see who gets the big start. Magley Rochette looks good on the left-hand side. She's had a very good start, but Alvarado also now surging in the middle. Sanakant coming up. Now it's about this left-hander, which is a little bit slippery. Alvarado on a new... Oh, Alvarado crashes. So does Sanakant on that first corner. And it's Rochette who goes through on the front for Canada. Well, her preparation has been very good this week. The Canadian rider relaxing, letting her body get primed, ready for the race. But look who's now at the front, coming from way down on the grid. Twice the under-23 world champion, Evie Richards, on that neon-coloured Trek bike, looking superb. Let's take a look at the start then. A mistake by the Dutch rider Alvarado as she crashes. Sanakant is held up. Rochette squeezes through. Got to get your tyre selection absolutely perfect for this race. Evie Richards up at the front. Brand is going to take full advantage of the fact that Alvarado has dropped back here. Alvarado's got a lot of work to do. Rochette suffering a little bit. Magley telling me she had her last meal 3 to 4 hours ago and just been snacking on some Cliff Blocks before that and a little bit of a gel just before the race. Immediately at the front then, Denise Betsema, formidable rider. And the gaps are already starting to open. There is Alvarado. She's got a lot of work to do. Really don't want a mistake just before the sand. So it's Betsema trying now to force the pace. Brand in second place, Evie Richards in third, then Anna-Marie Verst, then ominously placed is Sanakant. Honsinger, I don't see her yet. Coming across looks to me like one of the French riders in the gap, trying to make her way across to the leaders, and that's probably Clausel. Richards then towards the front. Also up there, Ellen Van Looy having a very good start. So Clausel is there. Alvarado making her way across. I don't see the American. There is Honsinger, not having a great start to this race. Betsema, though, she's a rider on the crest of form. She won in Holst a couple of weeks ago. And now Sanakant dropping back a little bit. So up towards the front, 2 Belgian riders, but Kant will not be very happy with that little crash at the start. She looked very focused. So it's Betsema, Brand, Verst, all the Dutch at the front, then Evie Richards. Behind them, it looks to me like Alicia Frank, I think. Problems here for Evie Richards. You cannot let the gaps go. You can lose 10 or 15 seconds. Then it's Clausel, then Ellen Van Looy, but Betsema's just riding away from the rest of the field. And Brand and Verst have got a decision to make here because their teammate's gone away. There is Sanakant way down in the traffic. Magley Rochette just behind her. Betsema already with a huge lead. 4 seconds her advantage. Looks a little bit more. Oh, a crash there. Hitting the deck there, Alicia Frank. Taken a long time to get up. She was riding really strongly until that moment. There's Alvarado down in 9th place, 18 seconds down, a huge amount of work to do. Not far behind her is Christine Majerus. That's Betsema. That was the crash in the background. Clausel rides into her. Keep an eye on the bottom of the screen. It'll give you a run through of where some of the riders are. Betsema has already got 10 seconds. Richards, 25 seconds down already. Castelline is with her. good in the sand, and Alvarado, the defending champion, already 31 seconds behind. There's Clara Honsinger. She's got a fair amount of work to do to get herself across to the front. Betsemer's literally just riding away. Betsemer with daylight between her and Brandon Verst, her teammates. And then just behind, coming up, Evie Richards takes a bike on the left-hand side. Spare machines. Clara Honsinger a little bit further back with Majerus. But the Dutch are just dominating this race so far as Richards comes out on the wheel of Evie Richards. 12 seconds between Betsemer and Brand. Betsemer just had her birthday a few days ago, now 28 years of age. Bronze medalist in 2018. She had 2 positive tests and a 6-month sanction back in 2019. Lucinda Brand there in second, working hard. Brand with 11 wins this season so far. And then Anna-Marie Verst in third. Coming across now. Next rider, Yara Castelline, then Alvarado and Richards, then a gap back to Clara Honsinger. But Betsemer literally just riding like she's on a different course at the moment. So far ahead. Oops, a little bit of a mistake in that corner. When you come on and off the different surfaces, as you can see, the riders have got very, very flat tyres. Katie Compton this afternoon, she's decided to ride on Baby Lamus with 16 PSI in the tyres. Brand has been the dominant force in women's cyclocross so far this season, winning the World Cup. She looks like she's starting to peg back a little bit the pace of Betsemer, who always starts very, very fast. Well, this season, you remember that Betsemer's already won in Hulst. She rode away from the field in a similar fashion. Brand was second that day, Alvarado was third, and Alvarado's now making her way up towards the wheel of Yara Castelline. Onto the steps, you've got to take the middle section here. If you'd like to get in touch, at Ant McCrossan, at UCI_CX is where you can get hold of us on Twitter. Down off the ramp by Anna-Marie Verst. These riders being very, very careful to pick the right point. Matt Christensen predicting that Brand will win, but Betsemer looks very, very good. Betsemer right now, 8 seconds is the lead. BGP rooting for Rebecca Faringer. Here's our second place rider. This is the chase. And there is Evie Richards, who's always a rider for the big occasion. Richards finding her form, having a great start. We're coming up towards the end of lap number 1. And here's our 2 leaders already. They've destroyed the field on lap 1. That lap that time, we'll take a little look. We'll see what the average speed was, an 8:58 opening lap. That's an average speed for Denise Betsemer there. Pretty fast average speed, actually. Just waiting for the quick calculation on the kilometres an hour. 3 kilometres covered at the end of lap number 1. Christine Majerus having a really good start to this race. She's up there in the top 10 for Luxembourg. It was a 19.4 km/h lap by Denise Betzemer. Look at Brand go. The riders are saying that it's all about power on this particular course. It's more physical than it is technical. And the problem you have is this bridge, because it's 20% on the way up. When you come off it, you're in a headwind. So it really does test you out. Kind of cross headwind. The wind is coming from the east. Brand really shouldering the bike quickly. And there's the daylight to the next group of riders. But any little mistake by any of these riders, and they will capitalise. So Anna-Marie Verst with a lap of 9:13. You wonder whether Betzemer's gone out just a little bit too hard here. Lots of the riders saying that this course is all about fitness because it is so physical. And because now, as you see, Betzemer going into this headwind, cross headwind now across this section, that the fitness really does play, as we see Sanne Cant starting to make a little bit of a move. Now Lucinda Brand being a little bit clever here. She's going the long way round, trying to get herself on that more hard surface for longer, so that she can then try and close up a little bit on Betzemer just in front of her. Alvarado looking a little bit more laboured that time. That mistake at the beginning of the race could really cost her. Now Brand is starting to come back, and I wonder whether when this race forms up at the front, if indeed it does, and it looks like it will, that things will calm down quite a lot, because Brand is edging closer and closer, and then it might well let in a few of the other riders. Let's run through the top 10 for you then. Betzemer, Brand, Worst and Kastelein, all Dutch top 4. Then Evie Richards of Britain. Then it's Alvarado of the Netherlands. Then Majerus of Luxembourg. Behind them is Clara Honsinger of the USA. Then Perrine Clauzel of France, and then Sanne Cant. They're within 44 seconds. Brand taking a little glimpse around just to see what's going on behind. There's Alvarado still on the sand. Betzemer riding well and running well. She comes from a little island at the north of the Netherlands. She trains on the sand all the time. She said before the race starts that she can kind of smell the possibility of a rainbow jersey today. Bit of a sand queen is Betzemer. Alvarado is still at 27 seconds. Betzemer onto the bridge. The wind coming across the shoulder here. It's a crosswind. And I wonder whether Brand's road endurance is really going to tell as this race continues. Alvarado had that little break, went to Spain for training, did a lot of endurance work as well. Everyone has been saying she looks really ready for this World Championship. As we see Honsinger in the background for the USA. Honsinger spent the week priming her engine, as she told me. A little bit of cross riding, some few easy rides. Started her day this morning with a muesli and fruit bowl. 3 hours before the race, she then took on a bowl of rice. And since then, she's just been sipping her scratch drink and taking a caffeine gel. And Clara can't wait for a beer at the end of the afternoon. Second and third place, Lucinda Brand and Anna-Marie Verst. Here's the next chase. Castelline trying to bring Alvarado across. Honsinger goes to the pits on the left-hand side, and Richards is still there. It's a real tussle at the moment for these places. So these riders are going to push each other on at the moment. Verst and Brand. 15 minutes into this race. The gap is 7.5 seconds, I think. Let's just take a little look. It's gone out a little bit more. 12 seconds. But these two riders are not going to give in. And generally what happens in the Dutch team is they're told as long as a Dutch rider wins, they don't care. So ride and make sure an orange jersey is across the line first. There'll be no designated leader at all in this team. You just joined us then. Denise Betsema is the solo leader of this World Championship. Chris Willett, you've noticed Lat Brand keeps hitting that same rut in the sand. Yeah, the riders are finding that these ruts are quite hard because of how cold it is and because it's been raining a lot. So the sand doesn't break away. Jack Megel, this is like the Dutch National Championships. You're absolutely right. It's Dutch domination right now. In the top five Dutch riders, then an American in Clara Honsinger, then it's Majerus of Luxembourg. Patrick Topham, thanks very much for your message. David Reich, teacher, you're thinking that Honsinger's just getting warmed up. There's Alvarado. She's just going to be in her mind thinking, what did I do on that first corner? Mark Hayes, hello to you. Hello to Robin as well. Thanks very much for joining us as we watch now Denise Betsema onto the steps, taking no risks whatsoever. Very slidey on that particular section. They've cleaned the steps, but they haven't been able to add anything more to them. So as you can see, they're a little bit slippy. Betsema seems to have really good traction though on the bike today. A little bit of a combination of tyres by the different riders. Some riders choosing to take on different tyre choices today. I was talking to earlier on today to Clara Honsinger. She said she was going to go with Challenge chicane tyres on her bike. Tyre pressure 1.1 bar, around about 16 psi. Grim right now in this World Championship as Betsema comes round to complete lap number 2 of 5. 8:58 was her opening lap and it was fast. There's Alvarado, the defending champion. Verst looks around at Brand, looks for a little bit of assistance. 5.9 kilometers completed. That lap was a 9:26, significantly slower by Denise Betsema. And Brand comes up to complete her lap. And that time, Lucinda Brand is 10 seconds back. Betsema needs to keep the momentum going right now. Just give you an idea of the comparison of times. The fastest lap in the under-23 race was an 8-minute lap by Pim Ronhaar, and they were riding around between 8:05 and 8:26. Gives you a bit of a comparison. Let's run through the top 10 again for you then. They've all crossed the line. So Denise Betsema, behind her at 12 seconds, it's Verst and Brand. Then it's Alvarado at 36, Castelline at 41, Evie Richards at 41, Christine Majerus in 7th. A great performance by the Luxembourger at 43. Clara Honsinger is in 8th place at 47. Then it's Sanne Cant. Then it's Perrine Clausel. picking out a few other riders for you. Eva Lechner is 11th. She's obviously finished on the podium before, as Betsema gets onto the terrain she loves. Katie Compton riding her final World Championship in Europe. She plans to ride the world title next season. She's in 20th. Magali Rochette is in 21st for Canada. But Katie Compton has been such a trailblazer for American cyclocross for women. Does suffer when the race is on the water side. Because of her asthma, she finds very difficult to breathe with the wind blowing off the sea. But the wind has changed direction, is coming off the land now, so that could be good news for her. There's Betsema. Second place still Verst and Brand, but I think they're edging a little bit closer now. 11 seconds though, but visually it looks like these two riders are moving quicker than Betsema is. Slow motion shots of Anna-Marie Verst. Second last year. You remember how disconsolate she was at the end. She lost in the sprint to Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, and these two riders are now closing in on Betsema, who to me looks like she is very, very laboured. Brand and Verst have caught Denise Betsema. What happened there? She looked suddenly very, very laboured. Just couldn't find any traction. The World Championships last time out. Alvarado, Worst, Brand, Compton, Castelline and Richards were the top 6. We've got pretty much the same riders in the top 6 apart from Katie Compton. We've swapped her for Denise Betsema. This is the chasing group behind, with Honsinger there in the colours of the USA. Oh, and a problem. And Anna-Marie Verst makes a little bit of a mistake. She falls. Brand is going to capitalise on that, because I think Betsema now is starting to struggle a little bit. I don't know whether she went out just a little bit too hard. Maybe the adrenaline rush, the feeling that she's on home territory here. Verst now really needs to come back. Did she touch wheels with Brand? Looks like she might have done. Yep, she touched wheels with Brand. So a mistake there by Anna-Marie Verst. Got to get back on the bike very, very quickly, otherwise you lose so much time. Brand is now starting to kick on. She's been training for the sand sections. Sven Nys has been helping her a lot to try and get her to the position where she could win this World Championship. So Alvarado at 40 seconds now. Honsinger starting to get a little bit tied up there. Can Verst get herself back into this race? 7 seconds down. Brand is kicking on a little bit. There is Verst in, oh, a little bit of a broadside. Well, I hope you've all created a little bit of atmosphere this afternoon. Got the beers and the frites on the go, the waffles in, trying to bring a little bit of the atmosphere of a normal Cyclo-cross World Championships. It's so quiet here, but at least we've got a world title. It was very touch and go during the week after the mayor locally was so concerned about the coronavirus situation, but this is locked down here, totally locked down. Very, very few people around, all the riders having to take the tests and also all the support staff as well, as Alvarado tries to kick on a little bit. Gregory Rose, thanks for your message. Casey Briss, thanks for your message as we take a look here at the Dutch riders. You're just asking about the setup of the bikes as far as what the riders are using in terms of gear ratios and things like that. Let's just take a look here at Alvarado. Splashing through the puddles that are left there in that particular area, as we see Betsema just trying to push on a little bit more. Alvarado leaving Honsinger behind a little bit now. Alvarado with that new painted machine. She obviously had the world title machine for all of the season. But this time she's on a nice new white and orange set of bikes, not just one. 3 bikes all painted in that particular setup. First is not too far behind, is she? She is still in with a chance of coming across to these riders and winning this world title. Brand knows that. Brand wants to try and dominate a little bit. See if it's possible to just break the will of the rest of these riders. And you feel that the endurance of these particular riders is really going to make a big difference as we go on. Onto the steps again as first reaches the bottom. Brand starting to make a little bit of a move. Moving on the right-hand side. Betsema trying to go with this little acceleration. Oh, and another little mistake there by Brand, letting Betsema back in. But now the gap starts to open up a little bit. An acceleration from Brand. Is this the critical moment in this race? Brand senses the chance to open up the gap. Great performance here. Let's take a little look. Brand comes around that corner. A little bit of a slide, but she still capitalizes on what's going on with Brand. Coming up then towards the end of this lap. Lap number 3, and Betsema and Brand are still locked together at the front. 2 laps of racing remain in this world title. We'll just take a little look and see the gap that time. So 9:20 was the lap, and 8 seconds back to Anna-Marie Verst. Casey, you were just asking about gear ratios as we see the riders make their way across. Clara Honsinger is riding generally a 38-tooth front chainring and a cassette 1033. She's on the SRAM group set with zip wheels in the bike. There's Alvarado, the defending champions, now at 38 seconds. She's not giving in. And Honsinger now in 5th place at 45. A little group of riders with Sanne Cant, also Evie Richards in there. Majeras not too far behind. And the French rider Perrine Clausel, who's had some great performances this season, is also there. Betsema is matching everything that Lucinda Brand throws at her. Lap number 4 of 5 laps. Little bit of a micro rest as they make their way downhill. Thanks to all of you for getting in touch. Stuart Davies, you're enjoying this course. It's so tough. Does look like we are going to be pretty close to the 50 minutes. Anne-Marie Rourke taking on the coffee at the moment rather than the beer and frites. And A. Thurston Hicks, thank you very much for joining, and you're enjoying the coffee as well at the moment. I was talking to Henrik Hausler before the race, who's riding the men's race tomorrow, and he just said this course is brutal. It's all so tough when you come off the sand onto that bridge, because your heart rate is already in red and you're trying to recover, but you've got absolutely no chance of recovering. Command Tab, thanks for your message. What do riders eat before the race? I think we just mentioned it a little bit briefly, but just to let you know, Clara Honsinger, her breakfast this morning, muesli and fruit. Then 3 hours before, she had a bowl of rice, and then she just took on some drinks and a caffeine gel. Magli Rochette had her last meal 3 to 4 hours before, and then just snacked on Cliff Blocks and took a gel just before the race. You probably saw Lucinda Brand taking a gel on right on the start line. You'll notice that the riders' bikes as light as possible. Brand starting to put on a little bit more pressure. Betsema still looks confident as Anne-Marie Verst brings herself back to the leaders. A bit of scratching on those discs. Into the sand again. Oops, Brand comes to a little bit of a standstill, and all three riders now having to run. Verst is such a good runner. She now senses, look at the way she picked up the legs then. She gets the chance to come back. She's really digging in here, Anne-Marie Verst. She could be the danger to Brand and Betsema here. Clara Honsinger now in front of Celine Del Carmen Alvarado in 4th place in this World Championship. The Dutch are so strong. Now it's a trio at the front. What are they going to do on this last lap? Verst has got herself back to the wheel of Brand. She doesn't want the wheel of Betsema, and she dominates now to go to the front and set the tempo she wants to set, going up this 20% gradient on the bridge. Anne-Marie Verst looking good today. Another rider for the big occasion. World Cup winner, remember, in 2019 and 20, a European champion. Second in the World Championships last season. This year, she's been there or thereabouts in a lot of the races. 5th places quite often. Took 4th in Hulst, 5th in Dendermonde, and 5th in Tabor as well. As Brand now takes to the left-hand side of the screen into the pits. Still, we have no idea where this title is going as far as an individual rider is concerned. I think there is no doubt that this title is going to the Netherlands as Verst really kicks on to make Lucinda Brand's life difficult out of the pits. She totally capitalizes on the need for Brand to go in. Honsinger in front of the defending champion. Who is going to win this world title? There is Clara Honsinger on the left-hand side doing the USA proud. Out of the top 6, she's the only non-Dutch rider. The top 10 for you then. Verst, Betsema, Brand, Honsinger, Alvarado, Castellijn, Sanne Cant, Evie Richards, Christine Majerus, Perrine Clausel. Brand is really struggling now to get back on the wheel. Can she get there? She's measuring her effort. Little acceleration over the top. A few people think that she's not going to ride road races again, but she definitely is. She is going to be in the Trek colours, and she is looking forward to trying to win more races, I think. She's not done yet, Lucinda Brand, on the road. She's already won races like Omlet, Het Nieuwsblad, and other major races. And that road endurance stands her in such good stead. Onsinger just gets better and better as the race goes on, doesn't she? Tim Johnson, lovely to hear from you. What's the chance that Clara can make the podium? I don't know, 43 seconds. We're coming up towards the bell. It's a big ask, but you never know, do you? Because if a rider up front has a puncture, then with the sand sections and running, you could lose 40 seconds on our last lap. So it's not done yet. But I just think the Dutch so far are really dominant, aren't they? They look good right from the start. Chris Norris, you're loving this race, I think. Matt Joyner, is there a little bit of blood on Anna-Marie Verst's leg from that crash she had? Let's just take a little bit of a look. Betsema now pushing on a bit. I don't think Anna-Marie Verst will really worry about it at all, though. I think Verst senses the chance of a world title. She was 1 second behind last year. Can she do it this time? She goes to the front again. They're about to lap a rider. Verst takes the long line round that corner, gives her a little bit of a slingshot round the shoulder of Betsema. And Brand, she's still keeping in the red zone. This is some race between these Dutch riders. Verst rides for 777 as a pro rider. Betsema rides for Pauls Sorsen. And Verst makes a little error. And Brand rides, of course, for the Baloise Trek Lions. So all three different pro teams, which is why when it comes down to who can possibly win this race, then the Dutch colours tell you one story, but the pro colours tell you something else. Ellen Noble, lovely to hear from you. A great rider, Ellen Noble, and she said it seems like there are speed limits everywhere on this course. In a normal race you could move up, but in this race it's just not possible as Verst crashes again. We're coming up to the bell. They come back together. Three riders at the front with 1 lap to go. Brand crosses the line first, Worst in second, and Betsema in third, and Alvarado is making a little bit of a move. 36 seconds back. That was a 9:39 lap. A 9:31 lap by Anna-Marie Verst. Betsema, right-hand side. She's got the red and black helmet on. There's Alvarado. Behind her is Honsinger. Honsinger is being dragged along a little bit here by the momentum of Alvarado. All three of these riders not giving an inch. Brand now kicks on. Verst tries to go with her. Betsema tracks. Evie Richards crosses the line there in 7th place. A good performance by this rider on her way back. So Verst put in a 9:31 lap. Brand put in a 9:39. The fastest lap so far, still Denise Betsema. The second fastest lap is Lucinda Brand. Then it's Anna-Marie Verst, then Castelline, then Evie Richards. So what do they do now? There's going to be a little bit of playing around here, I'm sure, because Alvarado is not too far behind if they start to mess around. Brand looking, Betsema makes a mistake in the sand, has to get off very quickly there. Brand now gets into the wheel of Anna-Marie Verst, and surprisingly, the queen of the sand is left wanting in that area. Honsinger, what a season this American rider has had. Onto the beach, cross headwind, power moment for these riders. Dragging her way back, using her skills to good effect as Denise Betsema, but she's right in the red zone. Alvarado dragging Honsinger with her. Behind is Castellijn, a great performance. 3 Dutch riders. Brand now decides that she's going to accelerate. This is a big moment for Lucinda Brand. Sven Nys will be cheering her on, I'm sure. He's been training her to try and win this title. Look how much you have to haul the body and the bike towards the end of this beach. Alvarado, the shoulders all over the place. You can see her teammates in front. Critical moment in this race. Brand now gets on the bike quicker. Ooh, finds a rut. And first is almost there. Betsema doesn't manage to get back on the wheels, but she almost manages to ride all the way to the hard section. Brand now puts in another big turn of power. Anna-Marie Verst, second last year. Is it going to be second again? The head is going here, but she drags herself back to Lucinda Brand. Betsema may well be paying for what she did on lap number 1. First gets onto the bike, onto the shoulder quickly. So does Lucinda Brand. But look at Betsema coming back. She can almost ride that entire section. Brand being urged on at the side here. She looks around. She's got a couple of seconds. This could be enough. Anna-Marie Verst trying to come back to Lucinda Brand. Verst goes to the left-hand side. She comes back to Lucinda Brand. She's refusing to give in here. Now it's going to be all about how much power both these riders have got on the bridge. They get on the bikes almost in harmony. Onto the climb now. Brand left-hand side. Verst on the right-hand side. They're literally rider against rider as Verst is able to go with Brand, which is a little bit of a surprise, some would say. Over the top. Betsema now is dropped. 2 riders at the front. Who's going to win this world title? Brand somehow manages to open up a little bit of a gap as they come down onto this little bit of slick tarmac. Brand is pushing on again. Verst is still not giving in. She's not giving an inch. Betsema is going for 3rd place. But behind her is Clara Honsinger at 43 seconds. If she sees Betsema in front of her, she's only 30 seconds behind now, the American, and she's caught and passed Alvarado. Brand looking to get rid of Anna-Marie Verst, who has got a very, very good sprint. Onto the tarmac now. Brand has just a second or so. 11 wins this season. She's dreamed of the rainbow band. She's finished on the podium before. This is the moment where all that training now pays off. Brand, you can see, sucking in the oxygen. Verst desperately trying to get back. Another little micro rest. Tries to get some feeling back into those legs. There's not long to go now in this world title. Honsinger looking around to see who's behind her. The answer is Yara Castellijn. And if Honsinger can keep pushing on, there is a chance of a medal. Brand now kicks on and attacks hard. Anna-Marie Verst on this single track, fighting her way back into the wheel of her teammate. But as far as teammates are concerned right now, they're no longer teammates, they're adversaries. It's about who's going to get the rainbow bands. Brand now is overtaken by Verst. They are knocking bits out of each other on this course. Shoulder to shoulder, and Verst goes down. Lucinda Brand gets the inside line. No holes barred. It was all about who got that corner, and Brand refused to give an inch. Brand now goes clear. This is so much of a tussle that we wanted in this World Championship. Brand is going clear. Is it going to be a beautiful day for Brand? left and right through this little turn, the tricky section, past the man-made crowd on the left-hand side. Anna-Marie Verst, look at this. Verst was on the left. Brand took the inside line. They went shoulder to shoulder. It was the cyclocross equivalent of Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen in Formula One. Lucinda Brand now is not far from the finish line. She goes into the crosswind, then she'll get a tailwind, but Verst still refuses to give in as Brand now goes to the steps for the final time. Fast feet over the top. Verst's running today has been superb. Brand now slipping and sliding round this last little turn. Verst trying to get back on terms to catch Lucinda Brand before the finish. It's an urgent little press on of power as Lucinda Brand goes to the right-hand side. Now the little climb that she's got to go up. Verst is almost back on the wheel, but she makes another little error. Brand now has to run around this section which she's crashed on before. She decides that it's safer to not take the risk. Verst now going for the silver medal, but she doesn't want silver. She's been there before. She wants the gold. She wants the rainbow bands. Brand now, another big surge on the front. The gap starts to open up. 3 seconds now between Brand and Anna-Marie Verst. Lucinda Brand has been the dominant rider in women's cyclocross this season. She has won the World Cup. She's taken 3 rounds in doing so. And now she's going to take the world title. It's going to be a glorious day for Lucinda Brand, the rider from the Netherlands, from the Barwals Trek Lions. Lucinda Brand screams. She wins the world title. Behind her is Anna-Marie Verst. Well, you can't ask for a better race than that. 3rd place is going to go to the Queen of the Sand, Denise Betsema. It's an all-Dutch podium. That race had absolutely everything. Well, she definitely deserved it, didn't she? Here's the revelation of the season. Clara Honsinger, take a bow because she takes 4th place on the day. 4th place in the World Championships in her breakout season. What a thrilling race that was. Yara Castelline, she takes 5th place. She's happy with that performance and happy with what her teammates have done. The defending champion Alvarado, it just wasn't to be after that crash on lap number 1. She takes 6th, then it's Evie Richards in 7th. Alvarado will be deeply disappointed. She did everything right in preparation. Lucinda Brand finally gets the rainbow band she's been looking for. Sanne Cant, 8th place for her for Belgium. She's such a great bike rider, and it's good to see her coming back to the sort of form we were used to. Christine Majerus sprinting against Elisabeth Brandau of Belgium. Brandau is going to take 9th, and well done to Christine Majerus. That's a great performance in the World Championships. 10th place for her for Luxembourg. Behind them, Eva Lechner, former podium finisher. Then behind them, it's Marianne Vos, and then Perrine Clausel. And the next rider coming on, Elici Arzoufi. This is Alicia Zuffi, the Italian, who's going to finish in 14th place. And completing the course is Anne Tauber. She'll finish in 15th place. And then just behind should be Magali Rochette of Canada with a 16th place in the World Championships. Then Alicia Frank just behind, who was riding strongly, wasn't she, until her crash. And a sprint behind for Garibaldi and Verhoeven. Katie Compton coming in 21st place. Her final World Championship in Europe. We look forward to her in her final season next year. Helene Clausel finishes for France. Marlene Petit also there, riding in 25th place. Laura Verdonschot in 26th. And we'll just watch as the rest of the riders come in. Losels in 27th place today. Behind her will be Lucia Gonzalez, riding for Spain. And in a few moments, I think we'll hear from Lucinda Brand. What an emotional finish for her as she takes the world title. Silver and 2 bronze in the World Championships in her career, but today she finally takes the rainbow bands. Here's Sophie de Boer, another Dutch rider on the left-hand side, riding with Barbara Borowica, riding for Poland, coming in there in the red and white. Sophie de Boer, a former winner of the World Cup. Let's hear now from the winner of today's world title for women, Lucinda Brand. Well, we're just enjoying the shots here of the top 3 riders before we hear from our winner today, Lucinda Brand. She wanted that, didn't she? Everything, all the fight. She really put everything into that race, and that final lap, it was all about that last corner, wasn't it? That fight for the corner. Betsema rode a really strong race early on. There's my sometimes co-commentator, Simon Burney, in the background. Let's hear now then from the new world champion, riding for the Netherlands, Lucinda Brand.
Lucinda Brand, massive congratulations. finally you're world champion. I think that's a big relief for you personally.
Yes, definitely. So many years that I was so close, and now finally, after such a great season, to finish it off like this is really cool.
You had to crawl back a lot of ground during this race, but there was this one moment in the final lap together in that corner with Annemarie Worst. Talk us through that one.
Yeah, it was a bit of it was not a thing. Yeah, we crossed each other, and I just touched her elbow or something. So yeah, of course it was the weakest point to touch her. That was where she crashed. So yeah, it was not really nice, but yeah, it was also not easy to avoid a situation like this. So yeah, eventually it happened, but yeah, I don't know.
Your biggest goal in cyclocross ever. Check. Your next goal now is Paris-Roubaix.
Okay, I first want to enjoy this one, and then we will see. Of course, that's a big goal, but first enjoy this one.
Thanks. Massive congratulations.
Thank you.
The emotion of Lucinda Brand. She's dreamed of taking this world title for so long. So often we've seen her on the podium as the rider who is disappointed in the last few years. But today it was all about preparation and the will to win. She takes it after 2 silver medals and 2 bronzes. She now is the world champion. The riders then getting ready for the podium presentation. Confirmation of today's result. Lucinda Brand wins for the Netherlands, 8 seconds ahead of her teammate Annemarie Worst, with Denise Betsema in 3rd place. Clara Honsinger breaks the Dutch domination with 4th place at 52 seconds. Behind her, 2 places back, the defending champion in Celine Del Carmen Alvarado. We'll let you digest the rest of the riders and spot anybody who you were cheering on today. "39 riders placed, 1 rider didn't finish." Let's take a look at the highlights of what was a stunning tussle today. The first corner, and Alvarado, the defending champion, that's where she lost her race, unfortunately. That cost her everything. Behind, she had to chase. Up front, it was all about Denise Betsema, who put the pressure on everybody early doors. Annemarie Worst was always there or thereabouts. A few little mistakes from all the top 3 riders during the race. Betsema, though, has always been the rider that's been billed as a possible winner of today's race. Lucinda Brand was potentially on everybody's lips as the pre-race favourite. She'd done everything this season. The World Cup win, 3 World Cup victories, 11 races won overall. But there's one thing having the pressure, and there's another thing turning that into a victory, which she ultimately did. It was thrilling action to watch. Every little mistake by any rider was capitalised on by the others. They might have all been in the same colours, but ultimately every single one of that top 3 wanted to win. Brand and Worst fought it out at the front. And finally, it all came down to this corner. Brand took the inside line, Worst crashed, and Brand went on to win the world title. Lucinda Brand of the Netherlands takes the victory. A stunning, stunning win by this rider. Well, in these times of the pandemic where so many of you are stuck at home, I hope that the last couple of hours has given you plenty of entertainment, because that was one of the best bike races in cyclocross we've seen for a long time. We're getting ready then for the podium presentation as we welcome the top three riders onto the stage. There's the rainbow jersey and the medal that Lucinda Brand will take. Well, I think that paddle boarder has certainly taken a few risks today. Wow. Lucinda Brand riding today on 1.1 bar she had in her tyres. For those of you wondering about Lucinda's move on the inside line on that lap, absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with that move at all to take the inside line. She had space. She was entitled to take it. She obviously said she didn't want to, it wasn't best, but she was absolutely right to take that line. And now we get ready for today's podium presentation.
Top, hè?
Ja.
So, ladies, just from here, it will be second, first, and third. And you say.
Following Lucinda Brand in her rainbow jersey onto the stage.
Flowers, they're already on the steps. And just go on the podium. First, second, yeah, third is here.
Ja, oké.
Okay.
Ja, maar dan, ja, we lopen zo voorlangs en dan, snap je? Dus jij staat hier en dan lopen we voorlangs. Ik aan die kant, jij staat hier en jij staat hier.
And I know it's really nice and you're always in team, but try to avoid as much as possible.
Any moment now then, the podium presentation. We're ready.
You can go.
Ja, je mag lopen.
It's been a day for the Dutch today.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the medal ceremony of the 2021 UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships for the women elite category. Our guests of honor today are Mr. David Lapartien, UCI President, and Mrs. Ingrid Reins, spouse of the local organizing committee President.
Dames en heren, graag uw aandacht voor de huldigingsplechtigheid na afloop van het zo pas betwiste.
Mark Bolan introduces the dignitaries onto the stage, including David Lapartien, the president of the Union Cycliste Internationale, the governing body.
De voorzitter van de UCI. En ik begroet eveneens met veel genoegen mevrouw Ingrid Reins namens het lokale organisatiecomité, het veld- en wegritcomité Hoogledegids.
In third place, and the winner of the bronze medal from the Netherlands, Denise Betsema.
Denise Betsema made all the running early on, didn't she? She finishes on the podium.
In second place, and the winner of the silver medal
Our first World Championship medal for Denise Betsema. 2 years running then, Anna-Marie Verst has taken the silver medal. Always a rider for the World Championships. She takes silver again. Last year behind Celine Del Carmen Alvarado, today behind Lucinda Brand.
Op de eerste plaats, winnares van de gouden medaille en wereldkampioene uit Nederland, Lucinda Brand.
Bronze medalist in 2018, silver medalist in 2019, bronze last year, but finally the rainbow bands.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, may we have your attention.
And now for the national anthem of the Netherlands.
Graag uw aandacht voor het Wilhelmus, alsjeblieft.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, bring your hands together for our medalists.
There's our podium. Great to see the emotion of Lucinda Brand. She has been a rider in the women's peloton for many years, 31 years of age now. She decided to turn her attention to cyclocross. She did it with great effect. The dream of the rainbow jersey as world champion finally comes true for her.
Wij hebben genoten op sportief vlak van twee schitterende wedstrijden. Wij moeten nu oprecht danken voor het op perfecte wijze naleven van de geldende gezondheidsmaatregelen. We gaan dat morgen even goed doen. Dank alvast daarvoor. Genoten hebben we van de sportieve strijd. En morgen
She's got a little bit of signing of jerseys to do and the usual protocols. The press conference will be via Zoom this afternoon.
Nadien krijgen we natuurlijk de apotheose van kort over 3, wanneer de mannen-elite in de arena zullen treden.
A very special moment for a rider who, on the road, has ridden so often for her teammates. Today, she gets the World Championship colours. That crowns a great career, both on the road and in cyclocross. Well, we've got a chance today to see just what this course offers. It will be interesting to see how it changes overnight because of the weather conditions. It's certainly going to be cold and it's certainly going to rain tonight. We'll see whether the course changes significantly for the two races we're going to bring you tomorrow. The under-23 women and final race of the weekend, the elite men. Everyone can enjoy the beach now. We'll leave you with some sights and sounds of a magnificent day of racing here in Ostend. Join us tomorrow for more racing from the UCI Cyclo-cross World Championships. Bye for now.
Ja, Lucinda, hoor je mij?
Ja, Han, wat ben je ver weg, man?
Ja, ik zit in een heel warm kamertje in Hilversum.